Welcome to another connection here on TKO8 Television. Dennis King, my co-host, could not be with me today. Tabitha Odegaard could not be here, so I'm going to go solo today. We do appreciate you joining us each week as we come into your home or business and hopefully give you information about what's going on around our broadcast area. Lots of things going on in the holiday season. We're going to come back in a moment and talk to a young lady about a big event. It's the Christmas Parade on Connection.
No one does a better job at keeping your wheels rolling like Joe Honeycutt and the staff at Tire World in Harrison. Tire World not only offers the best brands and tires such as Michelin and BF Goodrich, they also have a complete service department. From wheel alignments and brakes to shocks and struts, Tire World will keep you on the road safely. From large commercial tires to lawn tractors, Tire World will keep you rolling. Plus, Tire World features a large selection of rims and wheels in stock for almost every make and model car, truck, or SUV, with special orders available. With quality you can count on, stop in to Tire World in Harrison.
When I went to Dental Creations on the square, I had been to 2 or 3 different places, and I could tell right away that was the place I wanted to be. Being a performer in Branson, I was desperately needing something done to my teeth, but I didn't have no room for finances, and she showed me this package plan, and now I'm making monthly payments on my new dentures, and very affordable. If anyone is looking for dentures, I recommend Dental Creations down on the square, because that's the place to go.
Back on Connection here on TKO8 Television. Our first guest in the studio did me such a favor today because my first group had to back out because of illness right at the last minute. Michelle DiGiorio. Did I get that right?
You did.
Boy, I'm getting good at that. Michelle, thank you so much for coming in. Michelle, of course, with the Harrison Regional Chamber of Commerce. And we're going to talk about a big event that happens every year about this time. It is the Christmas Parade.
It
Gosh,
is.
It doesn't seem like we're even talking.
I
Halloween
know.
just got over, and
It
now we're
did.
talking about Christmas already.
And Thanksgiving is just
Thanksgiving
next week.
around the corner, and oh my gosh. But thank you so much for coming in and doing the show with us. And Christmas Parade, always a big event for the Harrison Regional Chamber of Commerce. I know it takes a lot of volunteers, a lot of time, and you really probably start planning it probably just after the parade's over for next year, don't you?
That's right. That's right.
It's a year-long process thing.
Well, you know, getting the theme together and
Right.
getting everybody together for thoughts like that is a big process. So we
Well,
have a lot going on.
When is it this year?
It is December the 3rd, so Monday night.
It's on a Monday
first
night?
Monday in December. It's December the 3rd.
Okay.
So
Now, is that, I'm trying to think back, is that a little earlier than in the past?
well,
or-
it seems because you know the first weekend is a November Friday night.
Right.
So yeah,
maybe
it's a little
bit.
early.
And they tried different times. I know through the years they've tried, they tried the weekends at one time, and they've tried during the week. They've kind of, trying to figure out what's best for the people and what time to start it and so
Right.
forth. So what time are they going to try to start
It's
it?
going to start at 7 p.m.
7 p.m.
7 p.m. And, the Saturday thing never really kind of worked. And
Yeah.
not as many people come. But so Monday night, I think it's just a really good time to have it.
7. You have to almost start it a little bit later because people getting off work and get the kids, and then you got to go, if they've got floats to prepare,
Correct.
go get them ready to stage and so forth.
That's right.
We're this year, let's talk a little about the route. How are we going to do this year?
Okay, so the route, everybody will line up at the junior high parking lot.
Okay.
And then it'll come out and go on to Spring Street all the way up into the square.
Right.
Then you would turn right onto Stevenson.
Okay.
Go back around the square, turn on Main, so left on Main, and then it'll go up past, in the hospital.
Okay.
And going around, kind of end at Neighborhood Diner. So,
Okay, kind of they disperse out there in those parking lots there. Right
they have
off the
different
bypass.
places that they go and disperse from. Parents
Okay.
pick up and everything. But Hospice of the Hills is going to be giving away free hot chocolate and coffee at Hudson, so that might be a really good spot
That's
for you
a great spot,
to stop
yeah.
and hang
Yeah.
out to watch the parade. So
That's fantastic.
Good parade route, I think.
And of course, it'll happen beforehand, but they'll have all the lighting ceremonies ahead of time for downtown Harrison. So all the beautiful Christmas lights that so many people have donated money and lots of hours putting those lights up. And Illumination Station, that group actually donated a lot of the lights and has done, I guess, this year most of the labor. And we certainly want to say thank you to them. Steve Pedersen and that group, because they put a lot of time and effort in. Boy, it really looks so nice.
Yeah, it
I
does
like
look
the
good.
downtown Christmas light look.
Yes, I know. It's just, it gives you a hometown feel. For
It
sure.
does, it does. And so many, a lot of towns don't have the pleasure of having a square,
No.
going to a downtown square area business there. Some of them just have a strip of
street,
going
Main
through,
Street.
just Main Street. So we're fortunate to have that here,
Absolutely.
and have that all ready to go when the Christmas parade is
That's
going
right.
on. What's your theme this year?
Well, the theme is Christmas memories. So
Christmas memories.
There's a lot of things you could pull from that. I think we wanted a broad theme so that people could have different ideas. So Christmas memories is what we decided on, and everybody's excited about it. So
That's good. It come up now. You with that theme, you have numerous categories, right?
right,
So
there are
talk
different
about-
entries.
Okay.
So essentially, there's 6 different entries, and each one of them is depending on what type of float that you're entering. So there's Visions of Christmas, Glory of Angels. Glory of Angels is like a religious entry.
Okay.
Visions
Okay.
of Christmas is just a general float entry. Then you have Glory of Angels, the religious. Then you have Spectacular Sparkles. This is if you wanted to enter your vehicle in it, and maybe have a beauty queen ride or something like that. Then that's what that would be. Or if you're a car dealership, want to put your car in, that would be what that is. And those vehicles need to be decorated, of course.
Okay.
And then we have St. Nick's Dream Machines, and that is all the antique cars that are entered into the parade. And then there's also, of course, band entries that come, and walking entries. Now, all of the top ones, the Visions of Christmas, Glory of Angels, Spectacular Sparkles, and the Antiques, all of those are $25 to enter. And then the bands, they don't have any entry fee, and the walking is $15 to enter.
Okay. Okay. Now, I'm assuming you're still taking sign-ups.
Right.
Right. Of course, it's still a little early. You got plenty
Still
of
a
time.
little early. You have until November the 30th.
Okay.
By 5 p.m. November 30th, so not next Friday, but the next,
Okay.
to continue to enter. We've got several bands in the parade. We're excited about some new bands that we've got in the parade this year. So I feel like we're getting in a good direction with the number of floats that we've got.
Through the years, we have had actually we've had some conflicts with bands, because many times some of the local bands were in competition, all out of town, and so those bands couldn't, like the Harrison Band, maybe Valley Springs, Bergman, and some of those were in competition, so we weren't able to have those. Gosh,
Right.
I think the bands just make a parade.
They
The
do.
more you have, the better. The Christmas carols, the Christmas music,
They
all that
do.
type of stuff. And
They do, and you guys will be airing it. You're channel 841, correct? And then K26, they're channel 843. They'll
Okay.
also be taping it, and
Okay.
so they'll stop out here in front and
Okay. Do
play
their
a little
thing.
song for 30 seconds or so, and then keep moving. So
Very good.
I agree that the bands are totally.
Yeah,
they have to be in the parade.
It makes a big difference. It really does. Let's see here. Oh, children. It's always an issue. Where do you drop your children off so they can be safe, they can still enjoy? Let's talk a
It
little
is.
bit about that.
Now, all of the floats have to go into the junior high parking lot.
Okay.
But we don't want any other cars going on there unless it's a general float entry, just because of safety. So if you have children that you're dropping off for the parade, then you need to park in that youth center parking lot.
Okay, down
and
by the youth
walk
center.
the child to the float. So walk them across the street and get them where they're going. We'll have some volunteers there. If you just need to drop your child off and say they're going to float number 290, then we'll have some volunteers there to help with that. But it's better if you just park in that youth center parking lot and then walk your child over to the float.
That way, it keeps the cars from trying to go through and drop,
Right.
and that gets to be pretty
It does.
hectic in that area there. I know
Yeah,
with the
because
floats
they're
and
trying to line up and they're trying to get their floats, last
Right.
minute touches before they're judged. So it's a good thing for the parents to just park and walk
park
them
and
over.
walk over there. Also, another issue they've had to deal with in past years. So, what are you going to do about candy this year?
So candy, we have candy sponsors, of course. We'll have the Pioneer cheerleaders that'll be with Santa, and they'll be passing out candy. But if you want to pass out candy on your float, all you have to do is just have someone walk beside the float and gently toss or hand the candy out. So we just don't want any throwing of the candy just for safety.
That got to be a real problem a few years back, and it has been for other towns. I mean,
Absolutely.
Throwing that hard candy off of a float or off of a vehicle, and you hit some little child. And the kids all get excited and they run out there,
Right.
and sometimes they run out into the street. And it gets to be it's just the way it is. The excitement of the
Right.
parade and the kids along the sideline. And
It's true. I would just have a couple of people walk beside each float, one on each side, and pass out candy if that's what you're wanting to do.
Okay.
And of course, the candy sponsors, that's for the cheerleaders to have the candy on the float with Santa.
Okay.
And of course, if anybody wants to be a candy sponsor, you can send any amount of money that you'd like, if it's $10 or
Whatever.
$25, whatever you want to send to the chamber and have a sponsorship for the candy.
Fantastic.
We also do band sponsorships. Band sponsorship is $150.
Okay.
So how that works is all of these bands that enter the parade, all of the sponsorships are totaled at the end and divided up among all those bands. So the bands actually get some money for their program.
well, I didn't know that. That's good.
They do. So we don't keep that money. It doesn't go towards the parade. It goes back towards the band programs that are entered into the parade.
Very
so
good.
I think that's
Well,
a really
that
good
makes,
thing.
That's nice. And, it is somewhat of a hassle for the bands to have to get all their equipment and load up and bring them into town and then pack it back up and go back.
Right.
So it's nice that you're able to contribute back to those schools, because I know, like anything else, the band departments and the athletic department, all of them struggle to raise
Exactly.
money to do what they do. That's
Of
good,
course.
good for
So
them.
it's just, it's a good thing. We have people in town that give sponsorships. We have, individuals or businesses that give sponsorships towards that, and then that just goes back to the band.
Very
so
good.
It's very good.
Very good. Who's Grand Marshal this year?
We don't know yet.
Oh,
we have a
is it-
meeting
is it
tomorrow.
still a secret?
We have a meeting tomorrow,
Okay,
and
so we don't know yet.
We'll hopefully get that decided tomorrow.
Okay.
So.
Santa Claus obviously comes at the end of the parade.
There he is.
Now, is he going to be like in a fire truck or something this
He
year?
will be in the fire truck this year. He'll be the last float. So if you want to stick around to see Santa, you have to wait till the end. You have to
Always-
watch the whole parade.
always- that's the end. When you see old Saint Nick, it's
You know
over with
it's
at that
over.
point.
That's right.
So, did I miss anything on?
Well,
on the,
exactly how to enter.
okay, let's talk about that.
If you want to enter, you could just come down to the chamber and pick up an entry form.
Okay.
Or you can go to our website, harrison-chamber.com, and go into the community events calendar and scroll all the way to the bottom, and it has the Christmas parade listed there, and there's a link for the entry form.
Okay.
And then once you have your entry form ready, you can bring it by the chamber or fax it to us or whatever you need to do.
Okay.
Mail it in, and we'll give you a parade packet with all of the rules, information that you need to know, where the pickup areas are for the end of the parade, and then that'll give you your entry number for the parade.
Okay.
So-
And so they would really probably be better off to drop, because you have to have a check.
Well, a
Give your
check-
entry
yeah.
fee, to go.
And we've got to give you that packet. So essentially, you're going to have to come by
by.
at some point so you can get your packet.
What's let's talk about your hours at the chamber in case people don't know.
We're open from 8 to 5, and you could call us, 870-741-2659, if you have any questions.
Right.
Of course, that's on our website, easy to get that link.
Sure.
But if you just want to stop by and fill out the form and do it right all there in-house, that's fine too. We're always there.
Yeah, I like your website, actually. It's very easy to
It's
get
easy to
around in,
maneuver.
and it's pops up there, got
That's
good
right.
information. Michelle, I'm so glad you came in. Thank you for bailing me out today.
Absolutely.
We had another group scheduled, and I was actually going to have you next week.
Right, we were gonna next
but
week.
they had illness, and can't do anything about that. But they called us this morning about 7 and said can't be there, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh. And I was talking to Jim Buchanan, who works with me, and I said, I might get Michelle to
That's
come in,
right.
and she could,
Of
she
course.
could, and you bail me out. I
right,
owe you one.
anytime.
I tell Tom,
Okay.
I owe you guys this deal. I really appreciate it. We appreciate Michelle coming in today with the Harrison Regional Chamber of Commerce. Don't forget now, it's Monday, December the 3rd. It's going to be on a Monday night. The parade will actually start at 7 p.m.
7 p.m.
And it will start at the junior high parking lot, and it'll make its way down around the square and up Main Street and go all the way past Hudson's and out and disperse about the neighborhood diner. But get you a spot early. There's always lots and lots of people lined up along the parade route, and they'll have hot chocolate and coffee and stuff up at Hudson's Hospice doing that, which is great. And there may be some other locations along the parade route. But hopefully the weather will cooperate, and hopefully Michelle and all the hard work that the chamber has done will all pay off, and we'll have a wonderful, wonderful Christmas parade, which kind of officially moves us into the holiday season.
Absolutely.
Again, thank you, Michelle, so much. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
Stay with us. With the second half of the show, we're going to talk about an important thing, particularly with the cold weather coming on, fire safety with the Harrison Fire Department on Connect.
Sam Alexander Pharmacy, it's the healthy choice for you and me.
Hi, this
is Tara. Come by and visit our new baby section, including diapers, wipes, and lots of newbie products, sippy cups, teethers, and more. We can handle all of your over-the-counter and prescription medication needs. We even have a new waiting area with a TV and couch. Have free coffee while you wait on the square in downtown Harrison.
A healthy choice is easy to see. Sam Alexander Pharmacy.
Lots of closets, but no place to hang your coat. Car parked in front of the garage, not in it. Just got too much stuff and not enough space? Ozark Mini Storage can help. With storage units in various sizes, we are sure to have that extra space you need for all that stuff. And we even rent U-Haul trucks and trailers to get it here. Ozark Mini Storage, 1700 Airport Road in Harrison. Call us at 870-743-MINI. That's 870-743-6464. Together, we can deal with all that stuff.
Back on the second half of Connection here on TKO8 Television. Dennis King and my co-host Tabitha Odegaard could not be with me today, but that's okay. We've got a young man in the studio that's going to talk about something very important. We've just had this first cold snap, and fire safety is something that everyone should talk about. We have Clint Nichols with the Harrison Fire Department. Clint, thank you so much for coming in. I know you've been real busy. Last week you couldn't come because you were at the schools doing programs. So
we've had a busy October. We saw 3,000 people in October, fire prevention, all of us, not just me.
Wow.
During the month of October. October's a big month for the fire department, obviously, but you know what? Our community is great. We get so many phone calls, come talk to us, and we want to do that. The guys get out with the fire trucks, see the kids. Yeah. Of course, we've got Fire Pup, and we got Pluggy, you know, the kids like them. Do. So we had a good October. Busy, very good.
Well, that's good. And yeah, you're right. October kind of starts that season of thinking about, because people, you know, the little chill in the air, maybe you just got your furnace fired up for the first time and need to know some things, and we're going to talk about some things here today. Home fires. Clint, I would say, most people would say, well, can most home fires be prevented?
Absolutely, absolutely, and it's time to be looking at that right now with winter coming on. We're using heaters and stuff. Most fires people start, maybe accidentally, mostly,
right.
But very few actual electrical fires. You know, they're out there, obviously, right. But one thing, these little space heaters. My mom, 83 years old, she uses a space heater, and they're okay to use, but you just got to use them common sense. Keep them 3 feet from anything. When you're not using them, unplug them. You know, common sense, just like that right there. Also, when we're cooking, we got to be very careful when we're cooking. We got a lot of kitchen fires in a year's time. We assisted Cottonwood out here on the edge of town, a grease fire here a while back. Somebody had a grease fire and they threw water onto it. Well, as you know, what happens there just explodes. So we really encourage people when you're frying food, like we like to do here in the country in the South, keep that pan. Keep the lid to the pan right there handy, and you have a fire, slide that lid over it and shut it off, call the fire department. That's one time, even a fire extinguisher not always the best, in case you might push it or shove it.
Shut the oxygen supply.
Absolutely, that's what you want to do, because you go ahead and get your fire extinguisher out, and if it starts a fire in the curtains or something, you know, put those fires out.
Right.
But that should do it. Oven fires, you know, the oven's made to contain heat. Shut the oven off, keep the door shut, give us a call. If you get a little smoke in there, you know, we'll set the fan up, we'll get that smoke out of there. We just don't want the fire to spread. Fire spreads a lot quicker than people can imagine.
You know, and you know, many times, you know, like a kitchen, I mean, I've had a skillet flame up, you know, grease, it's easy to do. But sometimes you overreact, and you think about, okay, I got to put water on it. And so I bet a lot of people do that. And plus you can get serious burns sometimes with that, throwing that water on that.
What a lot of people do is, of course, that's in their home, it's happening to them, and they are a little bit, you know, you can see this stuff, but what's happening in your house makes a big difference. It's a lot different than on TV. But they'll grab that skillet and they'll try to get that fire to the outside. We find that a lot too.
And then
they'll get the
major
burns. Like I say, when you pull that skillet out to cook with it, put the lid right next to it. That is the best way that we found to put out those fires and turn that stove off. So.
This time of the year, a lot of people don't think about it, and you may have one, you may have two, you may have a half dozen smoke detectors. Let's talk about smoke detectors, and maybe, Clint, if you would explain, let's say, you know, it depends on the size of your house and how many rooms, how many floors, so forth, but normally, how would you decide how many smoke detectors you need?
Get a lot of questions on smoke detectors throughout the year, and the good questions, first off, if we have children, little children, they tend, research shows us, they tend to sleep more sound than we do.
Sure.
They're encouraging people to put smoke detectors right in the bedrooms now, right over the beds. The kids sleep so much more sound than we do. They tend not to wake up. They have smoke detectors now. They've done a little bit of research that actually you can talk into, and the kid can hear a familiar voice telling them to get up. And actually, I think we can get them here in town. The hardware stores,
Okay.
Walmart, places like that has them. There's been some research that those are successful. But the main thing you want to do is make sure you have at least one on every level.
Okay.
And have them in your sleeping areas. Most fatal fires happen when we're sleeping.
Okay.
So we need to be alerted at that time. Also, I get a question, what kind should I get? Well, the ones we've had for years, since the late 70s, is called ionized smoke detectors.
Okay.
And when you pick one up, look on the back, it should be UL tested. If it's
Sure.
UL tested, it should be good. Now, there is some research that shows that the new, I say new, they've been out for several years now, photoelectric smoke detectors actually does pick up smoke just a little bit quicker than the old ionized smoke detectors. But one thing we want to encourage people, get a smoke detector in there. Make sure you get one in the house, whether it's the ionized or the photoelectric. They do work. They're a lot better than having nothing for sure.
Absolutely.
So also what we want to encourage people, those of us that have kids that are moving out on their own or maybe have elderly parents, make sure they have one also. We've done a good job in this country putting smoke detectors in our homes, but research shows that the elderly or 18, 19, 20-year-old
Yes.
young people do not do as good a job putting them in their homes. Also, if you lived in the city of Harrison, if you're renting, your landlord is responsible to provide you a smoke detector in your rental property.
I wondered about that. Yeah, that's a
They're supposed to
requirement.
check it once a year.
That's a requirement in the city. Of course, people live out in
City
the county.
ordinance.
I'm sure they may not have that, but you definitely need the smoke detectors. You don't hear as much talk about it, although it's very deadly. Carbon monoxide. What's the ruling on what should people do on that? A lot of people think about smoke detectors, but they don't think about carbon monoxide alarms.
Absolutely. Think about carbon monoxide detectors. When you get it, you need to read on it because there's all different kinds. There's some that go up high. There's some that go in plug-ins. And if they're UL tested, they're tested by an independent laboratory, and they should be good. And any detector, if you've had any detector for 10 years, I think some of the carbon monoxide detectors you can read on them. I think after 5 years they want you to replace them.
Okay.
Just read on the box.
Okay.
But we encourage those to absolutely if you're burning fossil fuels, if you have a wood stove,
Sure.
we encourage those carbon monoxide detectors.
Okay.
So, and they have all kinds. The thing you need to do, they have kinds that shows how many parts per million are in there. Whatever kind you got, just read on it, put it in the correct
Make
place.
sure you understand it and where to put it and so
Absolutely.
forth. Before we get off the smoke detectors, Clint, one thing that a lot of people forget about, they put the smoke detector up and they forget about it. How often should you check that thing?
Absolutely. More people now die in houses that have smoke detectors than have no detectors at all because people fail to put batteries in them. We've done a good job putting them in our homes.
Yep.
We do a poor job maintaining them. Smoke detectors, absolutely 10-year life, then get rid of them. The old saying was when the clocks change the batteries.
Change that battery.
And we recommend that, but at the very least change them once a year.
Right.
And we recommend checking them every 30 days.
That's a good idea. And most of them have a low battery alarm if you pay attention to it, but that's not, you can't always go with that. You really need to just change those batteries out.
Well, all of our lives are worth the price of a battery.
Oh,
So
my
with
God.
any doubt,
Yeah.
put a new battery
Put a new
in.
battery
So-
in. You know, this time of the year is a wonderful time of the year. It's the holiday season. It's nearing Christmas. What about Christmas trees? I know that's a major problem many times, and a lot of fires during the winter months start during the holiday season.
That's absolutely true. Remember when you put that Christmas tree up, make sure the needles, been good. It's not all dried out. Don't cut it too early and leave it up for a month in your home. And make sure you keep that little water container.
Yes,
so they
yes.
will suck a
Yeah,
bunch
a
of
lot
water.
of water,
out
don't
of
they?
that
They really
container.
do. It's
You've got
amazing.
to get in a little habit of reaching down there and sticking your finger. Make sure that's got water in
Yeah,
there.
keep that green, keep it green. And
But I think people can even go online and look at it when a natural tree catches fire. There is quite a little bit of fire there, and remember that's
Wow.
in your home.
Wow.
So if you decide to use a real tree, make sure you maintain that tree with water and just keep up with it. If it gets real dry, I get rid of it. So.
most Christmas tree fires, I guess I would ask, would be, do they get started because the Christmas tree may be close to a flammable something like a fireplace or a wood stove or something, or is it electrical? You know what the stats are?
I don't know the exact stats on which one is more prevalent, but I tell you those are both good suggestions.
Okay.
When you put up your tree, and there again, you can put it up to a vent where it's going to dry out even
Yeah,
that much
yeah.
more. All things to consider. Of course, obviously, your fireplace and
Oh, yeah.
a wood stove, you got to be careful with that. Now, on your Christmas lights, those lights are a very, very small wire and very fine. So we really recommend as you put those lights up, please check those lights.
Yeah, make
you know,
sure
run your hand down. If those lights are cheap enough, if you've got a bad one, get rid of it. Once again, all that kind of stuff. Don't stretch it. If it's bad, get rid of it. Get something new. It's your home.
Too inexpensive to
absolutely
risk your home.
Absolutely.
Escape plans, and also meeting place. I know you guys do a lot of training with your little smokehouse, and particularly with kids and so forth. Let's talk about that for a minute. What should they do?
You know, a fire can double in size every minute. And the inside of our homes is the right environment for a fire to double. I mean, we have all the plastics in our furnitures, the foam rubbers, and stuff like that. And so we encourage people, and of course it's hard for the little children, but start young and teach them how to get out. How to check the door, touch the door, and how to get out the doorway. We don't expect the little kids to be able to open the window and crawl out. But as your kids get bigger, work with them. When they get big enough to open the window, to have the second exit out of the bedroom, make sure you talk to them about that. We really push self-rescue. Obviously, if you've got a loved one in a house, you're going to go try to help them whatever you can. But fire spreads so rapidly. We want to encourage, obviously, smoke detectors. And as your kids get bigger, teach them how to get out of the house and have a meeting place. We lose people every year. We lose firemen, policemen, neighbors, parents, run them back into homes looking for kids that aren't there or people that aren't there.
Wow.
In fact, we had a fire just the other day, and I give the dad credit. He was going in there, thought his kid was in there. I think a couple of the policemen that were helping us, stopped him.
Yeah.
His child was out of the house, thank goodness. But, he didn't know.
Right.
He didn't know. And so the best way is you do all you can. Have a meeting place outside. Practice that exit plan. The kids do it at the schools.
They do.
They know how to do
Yep,
it.
they do.
You just got to give them a little free rein there and let them, work with them a little bit. So.
Yeah, that's very important. And I'm, with all the chaotic situation that's taking place, if you have a fire in your home, many times, you're running around, you worry about the pet, you worry about the kids, whatever. Just make sure you get it planned. I know you guys. We got about 2 minutes. Let's talk about insurance for real quick.
It's a very good question. We encourage people to have some insurance information, at least contact numbers, maybe at a loved one's or a mom and dad's house, a loved one, a neighbor's house, maybe in a lockbox at the bank, because. And really, you need to have an emergency number carrying your wallet if you've got it, because a lot of times we'll go out to these house fires, and there's the person standing on the street, and we're fighting the fire, and they're out there with the clothes on their back, and they need to contact their insurance agent immediately, because if you've got homeowners insurance, that agent, if they're not going to be on the ground, they'll at least get stuff rolling to get you a place to stay that night. Don't get me wrong, we're going to call the Red Cross if needed.
Sure.
We're going to put you in line to get over here to the Sharing Care to get you some stuff. That all takes time.
Yeah.
That insurance agent, they're going to find you a place to stay that night.
Yeah.
And the second thing is renter's insurance. We go to a lot of rentals, and people have fires, and obviously, they're not necessarily responsible for the building or the house, but their contents. And they could be standing on the side of the street with nothing. And lots of times we find very few people with renter's insurance.
Yeah.
So if you're going to rent, check into it. I don't think it's that expensive. And remember, those are your possessions.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, that's true. Great information. Clint, you bring us lots of good information every time you come in, and we do appreciate all the things that the Harrison Fire Department does. I mean, they not only put out fires and do rescues and save people's lives and do all this things, save property damage, but they're out and about all the time doing, like Clint and all of the staff down there. They go to schools. As he said, they see like 3,000 students already this year to talk about fire safety. So if you see them, say thank you. They're out there doing a lot of above and beyond stuff that you may not even know about, and we appreciate you very much.
Thank you, Dennis.
We got a very quality fire department here in Harrison, and appreciate it. Clint Nichols with the Harrison Fire Department, talking about fire safety. You must take care of yourself. So know those little tips that might save your life, save one of your family members' life, or save property damage, because it could happen to you just like a lot of other people. Thanks for joining us on Connection today. We hope we brought some information to you that will help you in the future. Join us each week at this time as we go out in the community and bring to you what we think is important here on Connection.
Local television worth watching. KTKO Channel 8, Harrison.